Hey, what's up, guys? Tuki here, back again with another episode of my Vegas Golden Knights franchise mode series right here on NHL 19. And today, we begin a new season with the Knights. We left the last episode with the question of whether or not we look to move on from Nate Schmidt and Jake Dotchin, bringing in draft picks and a prospect in the case of that trade offer from Philly. A little bit mixed, I'd say. Perhaps a bit more support for the thought of going forward with that trade. So while it's on the table, I think this is what we're going to do for the moment. We are going to stand pat, but I have set up the trade block in pretty much the most ideal fashion. Ignore the ages and everything. But surplus-wise, getting rid of lower-end forwards, some lower-end defensemen as well, I do believe. Basically saying, like, hey, anybody that's, basically that's Schmidt and Dotchin right there, without actually having to add them to the block and that affecting their morale, and then any goaltender. Basically what we're looking for, replacements for Schmidt and Dotchin, perhaps a goaltender, perhaps a prospect. We'll see how that goes for the moment. Because to be honest, I'm not sure how we're going to do this season. I'm a little bit pessimistic, I'd say, and perhaps it's just because my confidence in Marc-Andre Fleury is lower than it's ever been. But if we get that offer again from Philadelphia, we will more than likely take it. I could easily see that coming up again. And at the very least, if they stand pat, if they don't make a move, we're going to be able to hopefully make the most of that. As Brandon Peary picks up an injury, but it's preseason, so we'll be fine. If they stand pat, we'll be able to go back and revisit that trade if need be. If we're doing well, though, it'll be worth keeping Nate Schmidt. It'll be worth keeping Jake Dotchin. Again, both on expiring deals. Dotchin I'm not worried about. It's Nate Schmidt, and knowing that if we wanted to bring him back again, we would more than likely have to drastically overpay, and that sucks. As, man, Vladar might be ahead of Oscar Dansk. We're going to just call up Dansk. Unfortunately, he is just going to sit there for the majority of the season unless there's an injury. Defensively, at least Bronstrom's on target to perhaps be third pairing ready for next season. It'll be worth keeping an eye on that. We don't yet know where Nick Hague is either. So the problem that we have right now, that being that our defensive situation beyond this season isn't exactly sorted out, it's looking a little bit more bright at the moment, I would say. We'll see how I feel about that later on. Anytime I talk about something in a positive light, by the end of the episode, normally that opinion has changed. So we will see how this goes. Bembridge locked in at a 69. Nice number, but not quite what we're looking for, as we will continue to send people down. Henry, I expect him to have a big season in the AHL. These two will be sent down, and then it's going to be Suzuki as well being sent down. So as far as our depth options go, it's just Brandon Peary, which is pretty much perfect. I think the roster is well-rounded. Of course, the addition 2 years ago of Panarin, the addition this year of Roman Josi. I'm excited to see what the team can do, and look at that. Cody Glass put on the second line by default. Very interesting. Very interesting. So we're going to go Carrier, Eakin, Carpenter, and then it's just the question of who the hell starts on the higher lines. Eric Holla last year was 35 points, a pretty big drop-off and disappointing. Stastny hit 51, which is solid. Tatar hit 50 and then disappeared in the playoffs. Tuck with 42. Glass, of course, is a rookie, but had 66 points in the AHL last year. And then Riley Smith. Stastny and Tatar alongside Riley Smith. That might not be the worst way to go. And then we'll look to have Holla, Glass, and Tuck, which isn't a terrible third line. Like that should be good enough to perform at a second line level. Like that should be good enough for each of them to hit close to 40 points. 30 at least, but I'd like to see higher than 40, especially last year if Cody Eakin could hit 35, and he hit 38 the year before. So needless to say, the expectations for that third line significantly higher than it would be, say, if Cody Eakin was that third line center. I have confidence in that fourth line, though. Defensively, it's shaping up to be Josi Theodore, McNabb, Schmidt, Jet Wu with Colin Miller. Although, in fairness, I care more about Colin Miller's happiness than I do about Nate Schmidt's. So let's go with Schmidt, Wu, McNabb, Miller, Josi, and Theodore. That works for me. I'm actually going to put Yossi on that right-hand side there. And then as far as the power play goes, set up well. No complaints. Whether or not having 4 defensemen between the 2 lines is the right move or not, we'll find out as we continue on. And then the big question mark, Marc-Andre Fleury at 35 years old, still has 1 year left at the end of this deal. We'll see what he's capable of this season, as we'll get the AHL set up here. Nick Suzuki might be even better than expected. 1 more year of him dominating the AHL, though, will be good for him, and then we'll bump him up next year, and he should be a monster. Garrison, we might take you out. Yeah, you're a good option on an AHL deal, but we have Salo, Fleury, Tishka, Walford. Jesus, a lot of these guys aren't even going to be worth it. I don't even know if Robin Salo is going to be worth it. In terms of development, Tishka low 6. Yeah, for a lot of these guys, it hasn't worked out. I think I'm just going to keep Jason Garrison there. Might as well go with the best options to make this team as good as it possibly can be. Although, let's go with that setup, and Brandstrom on the top pairing to start. He is our most valuable defensive prospect at the moment. And then forward-wise, Chris Casto is there. He's technically a defenseman, so that's not really a good sign. Do we have contract spots to bring in 2, maybe 3 forwards? Probably just one. Actually, Tyler Wong isn't ours either. Yeah, if we could bring in 2 forwards here and have Tyler Wong as depth, just bring in the 2 best guys that we can to bump up the AHL, I think we'll be in a good spot. So let's double check that before we get going. I keep forgetting free agencies over here. Of course, we can see our contract spots. Oh yeah, we're good. We are good. And man, that was the other question too, to be honest, that I completely forgot about. The potential addition of Evgenii Dadonov, which, I mean, if you look at our lines now, there really isn't space. There really isn't. Unless I were to trade Alex Tuck, which I'm all right with them, really. I don't think Dadonov's going to put up more than 40 points on a third-line role. You could argue, well, you'd have him in a second-line role. That would only happen if we played Cody Glass in the AHL. Because there isn't anybody there out of that top 9 that I'd prefer to drop. We would have to make a trade, which we could do. There's no guarantees, though, that Dadonov would be any better, but it is a possibility, especially if he remains there. He's looking for 3.6. How did he do last year? 62 points. Guaranteed, though, in a top 6 role rather than a top 9. That is a possibility. And then Domi's still an RFA, which, yes, the one year shenaniganery is still a possibility. I just want to see what we'd be giving up. But he's locked in at an 82 overall at 25 years old. So to give up a second, honestly, isn't that bad. That's honestly not that bad. A second round pick, although it's not showing him locked in at an 82 now. Put up 55 points last year. I mean, granted, we could just get the free option, the older option, but the free option in Dadonov, if that is something we were interested in doing. It'll be worth keeping an eye on, I'd say. As far as the AHL is concerned, prospect-wise, it's not going to be looking that good. So, like a Mapaleski, Corey Conacher. Corey Conacher would be a good guy to bring in to put up points at the AHL level. We'll max out that. And who else would be good to put up points? David Booth, Setaguchi, Jack Skilly. Setaguchi might honestly be the best way to go. Tomasz Haika, who we could bring back. I guarantee I'm butchering his name, but we could bring him back into the fold. Callie Cosilla is there as well. Nathan Walker. Looking for that one name that really jumps off the page. Hemsky. Not that guy, but still, I noticed him at the very least. I don't know who to bring in here. Quite a few familiar names, though, from guys we've let go of in the past. I'm not sure how good Dmytro Timashov is, but... Or Oscar Mahler. I don't know if Mahler's as overrated as he was before. Maybe not overrated, but he was an offensive dynamo in NHL 18, especially at the AHL level. You know what? For that reason, I think we're going to bring in Oscar Mahler. We're going to see how well he can do. We were just a few clicks away from Ronaldo. Damn shame. Damn shame. So let's go ahead here. Hit sim to regular season. Wait for the responses. Peary's back to 100%, as we knew he would be. Will we get an answer before these games? Conacher signs, Mahler signs. Beautiful. So our season opener is at home against Arizona. We'll see how that goes, and let's quickly get the AHL lines set up. And we'll keep an eye out on the Dadonov situation, because that could be worth it. So let's go best lines here. Defensively, the only thing I want to change is that. There's no substitutes to make. And then we'll take out Tyler Wong for one of our prospects, Boqvist, who unfortunately is a little bit lower. Okay, maybe a little bit more than a little bit lower than he should be. But we'll still play him in that role. So it's Conacher, Suzuki, and Mahler. So we're going to have some good talent around Nick Suzuki. He's really going to benefit from that. And then Bembridge, Mateos, and Henry is a very strong second line. So while we do have quite a few players who are vastly underrated, the team's still looking okay. I'm feeling pretty good about both clubs' opportunities this season. So we'll see how this goes. I'm excited. The fans are excited. The sponsors are excited. Everyone's excited. Captaincy, though, for the hell of it. Carlson, Panarin, Marchessault. Marchessault's captain, huh? I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about Marchessault being captain. I don't know if we want a captain. I don't feel like we should name a captain until like Cody Glass is ready to go. Panarin, I'm sorry. I mean, Carlson and Marchessault for sure. Eakin could get it. Stastny, Tuck. We need a defensive representative. And I mean, I'm gonna be unorthodox about this. Braden McNabb, heart and soul guy. We'll have our new set of alternates. Why did I do that? Just for the sole reason of pissing people off, because I know the morale system's a bit funny. Why not piss off my superstars just before the season starts? So we have Suzuki, Haig, Garrison. You know what? Jay Garrison can be captain. Jay Garrison can be, he can be captain. So we have Suzuki, and who else deserves a letter? Probably Henry. Probably Henry. There we go. Nick, congratulations. 2 alternates at forward and the captain and Jay Garrison. And with that, I know it's shocking. I didn't make Nick Hague captain. Anyone who watched Rebuilding Hockey Town is shocked right now. Just, who am I and what have I done with my former self? Regardless, new season underway. Let's do this. The preseason took a little bit longer than expected, but thankfully it shouldn't be that bad in terms of sim speed to begin this season, unless we end up dealing with a buttload of injuries, which could happen. And unfortunately, we have 2 goals in 3 games, make it 2 goals in 4 games. I thought our offense would do all right. There we go. We more than doubled our total. We still lost 0-3-2 to begin the season. Ikonen goes down to injury in Chicago. He's going to be out for a month. We're still looking for our first win of the year. We do get it against Winnipeg, but what an absolutely brutal start for us. I mean, maybe you could say, well, I didn't expect us to start off with flying colors, but damn, to do that poorly, and now to have won 4 straight games, this is going to be an unpredictable season. I think we can already tell that. 5-5-2, 2 games left this month. We lose to Minnesota. Can we beat the former North Stars in Dallas? The answer appears to have been no. Never mind. 6-6-2 through the opening month. What we were expecting? Not quite, but it works. I think it's a little bit too early to make any lineup changes. Let's go another 2 weeks, as Corey Conacher was banged up, but he didn't miss any game time, so that's good. And we'll see what we have moving forward. Chicago with a losing record, which is honestly disappointing. I feel like the Chicago Wolves, with the roster they have, they should be a playoff team, as Carrier goes down to a concussion. Brandon Peary will replace him. Ikonen's back as well. There must be a defenseman in the lineup now, right? Or not. I guess Tyler Wong is just outright put into the lineup. So I'll bring back Evgenii Ikonen. And that should be fine. Yeah, because Boqvist is in. All right. We should be fine there. I don't know. I feel like there was another injury, but we're good regardless. See if we can get it over 500. 8-6-3 back-to-back wins against Vancouver and Anaheim, as Carrier's back as well. Peary, thank you for hello. Okay. How the hell were we winning games? Stastny ended up hurt without it telling me. So that's cool. Okay, so Peary right now is replacing Stastny. That's fine. Dotchin, you get to sit for Carrier as long as Peary's playing, which, I mean, we're obviously just going to do that and bump up Cody Glass, play Eakin on the third line instead. Peary still has decent faceoffs, right? Yeah, he does. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. So that's the new look second, third, and fourth line, for that matter, at the moment. Is it, like, am I wrong here, or did I just completely miss Stastny getting hurt? When did that happen? Did I zone out and miss it? Because I don't feel like I did. We'll continue onward. It's not worth changing up the lines right now when we're not at 100%, so we will move forward until we actually get a look at our full-strength squad. That'll be whenever Stastny's back. In fairness, we're on a decent run so far throughout the month of November, and Braden McNabb gets hurt and is out with a concussion. He's out for a month. We are dealing with enough injuries that it's worth going best lines here and readjusting at this point. So goaltending, of course, we're fine. Fleury's still at an 88. Defensively, Shea Theodore stepping up. That's what I like to see. Jet Woo. Holy hell. Jet Woo. 81 overall. That is what I like to see. There we go. Team's actually looking okay right now. That depth and keeping Schmidt and Dotchin looking like a good decision at this point. So Panarin, Carlson, Marchessault, Smith, Glass, and we'll see from here. So Panarin, 19 points. A few more for Carlson, 18 points for Marchessault, 12 for Smith, 6 for Glass. Now, Cody has developed into a third-line scoring forward, so we can't send him down. He is just out right here. 8 points for Tuck. Wow, Eakin, Holla, and Tatar all doing all right at 9 points. Actually, Holla with 10. 6 for Carrier. Carpenter's still doing well. I don't know what it is about Ryan Carpenter. I'm so glad we kept him, though. He just puts up points in that fourth-line role. So the big question is here, what do we think the best combination of players will be? And I gotta be honest, it might be dropping Glass and Tuck. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do, honestly. We're gonna go Smith, Holla, Tatar. Who's a better center? Eakin. We'll go with Tuck, Eakin, Glass, Carrier, Peary, and Carpenter. Defensively, we know we're good. And in terms of healthy scratches, it's just Oscar Dansk. So if there's another injury, we're going to have to readdress that. Nick Suzuki, by the way. Only 12 points in 20 games. Not exactly lighting the world on fire, but again, absolutely NHL ready next year. And the big guy, the big player to keep an eye on, of course, is Bronstrom for defenseman. So the gem of the defense as we get an offer. No. How about no? How about a big old help and a nope? Radko Gudas. Get out of my kitchen with that. Unbelievable. Jake Dotchin for a 5th and a 6th. Had I seen that earlier, I'd say, probably, but we need Jake Dotchin at the moment. He's turned it around, in fairness. I'm not sure how well he's playing. We have lost 3 games in a row, by the way. A 2nd for a 3rd, 4th, 5th, and Gudas. My God. What are these offers? Jesus. December 1st. 12, 10, and 4. We went on a really bad slide there. We have lost 4 games in a row after a 4-game winning streak. So we are a bit of a streaky team at the moment, but we're not that far back despite the injuries. So that's nice. 5, 4, and 1 in our last 10. And I gotta be honest here. I have to be honest. I'm wondering about the free agent list. Let's go take a look. Because we might be able to put ourselves into a little bit of an interesting situation. Domi ended up resolving that issue. Dadonov is still there. That is very, very interesting to me. As is someone like Trevor Daley. Right. Daly and Orpik would be willing to sign for cheap. Roman Polak's there. Andreas Borgman. Man, Borgman's only 25 at this point. Jesus. I didn't realize Borgman was that young. Anton Lindholm, Andrew Nielsen. I can't help but think. Bringing in Trevor Daly for dirt cheap. Dirt cheap. Even if he's not actually that good, he should still be okay. You know what? I'm going to do this. Possibly. Evgenii Dadonov. $4 million for the rest of the season. What do you think? What do you say? And then defensively, we have the space to pull this off. Trevor Daly, $700K for the rest of the year. We have the space to pull this off. The options and the depth are there for the taking on the free agent list without us having to give up anything. If we're going to continue to struggle with injuries like we have, why the hell not? Why the hell not? We'll sim this game against the Islanders. Hopefully we snap that losing streak. Dadonov has accepted. 8-4 win over the Islanders. No answer from Trevor Daly. But we have signed Evgeny Dadonov. Which, to bring him in fairness, Max Domi might not have signed. It was December 1st, so maybe he didn't. But to be able to bring him in and just like this, drop Brandon Peary, have him go back into a depth role, and now suddenly inject Dadonov into this lineup? Worth it, regardless of what the consequences might be in the short term. Although... Oh, he's going to be in the system and then no overall known. There we go. So let's call up Evgeny Dadonov. We'll deal with the consequences of this later. But we'll go best lines. And who did it take out? It took out Peary. Okay, good. So now we'll have Carrier, Eakin, and Carpenter. And then from there, Dadonov will be on the second line. It's just a matter of with whom. 9 points for Tuck. You have the 12 for Holla. And the 13 for Tatar. 17 points for Smith. So it comes down to Tatar or Holla. Holla can play center. So Smith, Holla, and Dadonov. Tatar, Glass, and Tuck. I mean, you can't pass up on that, can you? And then defensively, we're still looking good. And then once Trevor Daly signs, we have that extra bit of depth right now with McNabb and Stastny out. Now, they're not going to be out for that much longer, but I'm still going to have options here. Like, I can send down Oscar Dansk, and we can keep Jake Dotchin on the NHL roster. So, we have the ability to do so. To me, I say, why the hell not? Why the hell not? As we'll play St. Louis, we should get the offer for the response from Daly, and he accepts. We lose in a shootout to St. Louis. We will take a look at the draft class, just not yet, as we end up losing to Winnipeg. Let me get Trevor Daly into the lineup down in the AHL, and we'll bolster up the Chicago Wolves and have him as an option. So Rossinen's medium 6, Coughlin's AHL potential, Wyatt Wiley is medium 6. So Dylan Coughlin will be the guy taken out here, and you know what? We'll actually go best lines. And then we'll go over to Coughlin, and we will bring in Wyatt Wiley. Although, Salo, not confirmed. Yeah, we'll just bring in Wyatt Wiley. We know what he is at the very least. So let's see. We don't necessarily have righties, but that's okay. We'll play Daly, Rossinen, and Wiley. Bronstrom, Haig, and Garrison. Garrison's down to a 74, so that gets the AHL club looking a little bit better. And then Tyler Wong, you are going to be out, maybe, for Boqvist, who is terrible. No, you won't be. We'll actually just leave you in, and Boqvist can be the depth. Overall, the team's looking good. Obviously, there's been a couple of turns that we weren't exactly expecting. I don't think anyone really expected us to have Panarin and Yossi at this point. And even the Dadonov signing, I wasn't sure if I was going to go through with it, but it made sense to do so at the time. Unfortunately, we've lost 3 straight again. We're still struggling. You can at least forgive it, seeing as we're not full health. The one thing I haven't taken a look at yet this season, of course, goaltending stats. And if it's still looking rough, that could be a pretty big deciding factor into what happens next. As, again, McNabb is back to 100%. Dadonov's confirmed at an 85. which is huge. So let's go ahead and make those changes. And then defensively, we have Schmidt, Miller, Wu. We'll make the normal changes there. Put Roman Yossi on the right-hand side. Yossi and Theodore worked relatively well together, so I'm okay with that. Goaltending. Fleury is actually having a pretty damn good season, and Malcolm Subban hasn't been dreadful. That is concerning then. What is the issue? What is the reason, aside from injuries, that we're at 16, 13, and 5? Ideally, we'd be doing much better than that. We're not out of the playoff picture, not at all. If we win our next game, we're tied with San Jose for third in the division. We're not exactly running away with it this year, although maybe we were cursed for that reason. Perhaps it is just the fact that our top line isn't exactly firing on all cylinders. We've seemed to have struggled with offense all year long, as Toronto, once again, killing it. We'll take a look at goals for. We're not way towards the bottom. And in fairness, we're about mid-table at a 2.71. Quite a few teams are over 3 goals. What about goals against? We're not way up there either. Mid-table, if not lower. Yeah, we have a bottom 10 in terms of goals against average. Power play percentage at 18.8 looks to be about mid-table. And our penalty kill percentage is also not terrible. It's somewhere in the middle. I just think we're getting unlucky. I think we can mainly point to the injuries. And I mean, Carlson, say what you want, he has 28 points in 34 games. I think it's just the injuries and a little bit of bad luck. You can't really point at one thing in particular and say that is the problem, aside from the fact that we haven't been healthy. We do bounce back, though. I mean, a 6-1 win over Nashville, a 5-0 win over Boston. We do lose to Chicago twice, or for the second time in a week. Gave up 12 goals combined, so that's a little bit scary. But hopefully as the team continues to get healthy, right now we're only missing Paul Stastny. Hopefully as we continue to, heal up and everything. I haven't looked at the draft board yet, by the way, and there we go, another injury. It's going to be Shea Theodore missing a little bit of time. So again, if we were to pick up another injury, though, on the defensive side of things, we'd at least have Trevor Daley to step into the lineup and fill that void. So let's take a look here. So Panarin, 29. Marchessault is still doing well. Dadonov has 10 points in 12 games. 17 points for Glass. 19 for Holly. You know what? I'm going to give Cody Glass a chance with Riley Smith and Evgeny Dadonov. And then we'll go Tatar, Holla, Tuck. And see how that goes. How's the fourth line doing? 11 points for Carrier, not bad. 14 for Eakin, 18 for Carpenter. I have no complaints with anything about this team. It's ridiculous. Let's go with that setup. So Yossi, Miller, McNabb, Wu, Schmidt, and Dodson. Not Dodson, Dodson. Goaltending-wise, again, Fleury, still doing well. Subban, not great, but not abysmal. It's just so strange, though. It makes you wonder maybe if there was a slight change-up, but that top line's killing it. Like I said, maybe if we were to, go with a Dadonov, Carlson, Marchessault, Smith, Glass, Panarin, but I mean, again, I can't help but think it's just solely down to the fact that we've been injured, which kind of sucks. I mean, as of January 1st, we're at 20-15-6. We're not going to be extremely far out of it. We are 4 points back with a game at hand on San Jose. We are right in the mix. We are 7 points back of Arizona, but we have 2 games in hand. We could easily catch up. There's no Maple Leafs of this division. Arizona's looking good, but they're not dominant. We just need to get healthy and stay healthy and have everybody firing on all cylinders, and we'll be fine. Moving forward here, though, I guess I'm at the very least getting us to the deadline, and there might not even be any controversy as far as do we make a move at the deadline? We might be fine. The next thing to do is, of course, deal with the lineup as the team continues to heal up, but also we'll be taking a look at the draft board at our next opportunity, as that is a very interesting offer. A first-round pick for their next 2 seconds, but I can't use that as the sole reason to get rid of Davidson. I could use a much cheaper deal to get rid of Marcus Davidson, who we ended up signing and, of course, isn't that good. So, yeah, I'm not going to give up a first-round pick. Like, I'll give up a first-round pick to move a bad contract like we saw in the end of NHL 18 in the Buffalo series. That's a bit much, though. If I were to do that, then definitely question me. As don't look now. By the way, how hurt is Paul Stastny? We're on one hell of a point streak here, though, aside from losing to Washington. I mean, we've only dropped 3 points all month thus far. How hurt is Paul Stastny? Because I didn't even see the prompt as we have jumped it. Wow, look at that. Arizona's not even in the top 3 spot anymore. That's how close this division is. Holy hell. This is going to be a dogfight towards the end, man. It's going to be crazy. Let me check the injury report. How bad is the Stastny injury? January 26th, and Theodore will be back on the 18th. Theodore's playable now. So Stastny's been out for a while, man. Damn, he'll be back at the end of the month. Let me take a look. How many games did he play? Carlson's still, Wild Bill's still hanging in there. Near a point a game. A little bit behind that pace. How many games has Stastny played? He's only played 16 games. Damn. He had 7 points in 16 games. And again, Theodore will be back very soon. So with that, we won't bother taking a look at anything lineup-wise. We'll wait until Shea is good to go, and then we'll have to fix the lineup again anyway. So let's sim this game against LA. This could be a big game. Even though it's January, this could be a very big game for us in the grand scheme of things. As Theodore's good to go. 8-2. That is not the first time this year that we've given up a shitload of goals. As Stastny is back, the easy solution here, of course, is to send down Brandon Peary. As far as who gets scratched, I'm not entirely sure. Actually, the easy solution really is just to send down Oscar Dansk, who I feel bad about, but he is just going to continue to sit around pretty much. If he gets claimed on waivers, so be it. I mean, because we have Dan Vladar, who's about at the same level. Dansk or Peary? Let's, no, I'm going to send down Peary. Because we do have call-up options. So let's hope he clears, and he did. And as far as this lineup is concerned now, I am not entirely sure who gets the boot. By default, it's Carpenter, and that absolutely is not going to be the case. The big thing is who gets scratched out of that top 9. Someone has to take a seat. 18 points for Tuck, 22 for Holla, and there's Stastny himself. Tatar's over 20. Cody Glass has picked it up recently. Riley Smith's still doing well. Stastny is on the last year of his deal. I gotta be honest. It might not be the worst play in the world to have Stastny sit, especially while he's still not at 100%. That might not be the worst play in the world. I really like that fourth line. And if Stastny ends up getting pissed off, big deal. He's gone at the end of this year anyway, and we freed up a ton of cap space in the process. So I'm not against scratching him at this point, which might be a bit controversial, but with the injuries that we've dealt with, and again, the fact that he's not at 100%, might not be the worst play in the world. And AHL-wise, Suzuki's up to a 79. Not bad. Who could we take out, if anybody? Ludwig Elvenes. Yeah, you're not worth fighting for. Neither is Boqvist, of course. Left wing, we're good. So that means defensively, we got to take out Coughlin again. And bring in Wyatt Wiley. Since we know he actually has a half-decent potential. Certainly worried about his development at this point, but what are you going to do? Daly's actually only a 75, so he has dropped off by quite a bit. But he's still a better option than calling up Haig or Bronstrom. We're going to be letting them play down in the AHL for the majority of the season. If anything, all of the season. So you know what? Let's put Daly over there, and we're going to run Haig and Bronstrom as the top pairing. And then goaltending-wise, we're still fine. So we at least get the addition of Peary. Mahler's actually a 73. Still has pretty damn good offensive awareness and puck skills, though. So he is not a bad option to pick up for an AHL level superstar, essentially. As we only have 3 games left this month. Of course, there's the big break in the calendar from where you would normally see the All-Star break as Central Scouting is back up. We did beat the Devils. Let's see here. Marcus Vorobiev is the top of the board, the Belarusian. Central Scouting has him at 1. Our scout would inevitably have him at 1 as well, since that's not filled. Power forward at 17 years old, not a crazy point total, but is playing essentially in the KHL. Holy shit. I mean, is that power forward? Like, is that going to be like a Lindros? Milan Lucic. Okay. All right. It's like I couldn't help but think like high end. Like, is that going to be a Lindros? Lucic. Nah. Don't know about that one. Then you got Raymond Ladd, the playmaker, who's doing very well in USA West. Very well. Extremely well-rounded. Similar style to Backstrom. Abraham Rycroft and the Kitchener Rangers having a very good season as well. A is across the board. Couturier comparison. And at 4, Alexander Lalande, who is having a pretty damn good season. B in physical. Backstrom comparison as well. Are there any known steals on the board? I suppose is my next question. Hello, High Elite, even though that's not a lock. So no major steals yet, but we're still somewhat early in the process. Jeremy Lozon is on waivers. Interesting. He is a complete unknown. 2 years left. Defensive pairing 2, power play 2. Now line scout. So he was playing on their second pairing. Why is he on waivers? They must have made a trade. If I pick him up, I am definitely risking. Okay, so they only called him up for 2 games. So he was down in the AHL primarily. If I pick him up, we lose a little bit of the wiggle room that we'd have for negotiations by having that extra contract spot. So I wish I had gotten that offer before signing Trevor Daley. I love Jeremy Lozon, but that's not going to happen. That wouldn't be a very smart move. As we get an offer, a 4th for Trotman and a 6th. Of course, we could look to change up what we have set up right now on the block after the addition of Daley. So we end up beating Columbus. Can we beat the New Jersey Devils yet again to end the month? Yes, we can. So we enter February with a 27-17-8 record. We have righted the ship in a way, which is solid. 3rd place in the division. A game at hand on San Jose, who are 2 points above. We played the same amount of games as the LA Kings. So right now, that victory that they have over us is the difference maker. As we'll take a look. That was a 9-1 final score for Columbus. Jesus Christ. Have there been any trades? No. Surprisingly not. I would have thought for sure that the Bruins had maybe made a trade, but it must have just been due to injury. We're 7-1-2 in our last 10. Let's take a look at what's going on. So lineup-wise, Artemi Panarin, 16 goals, 26 assists, good for 42 points in 52 games. Not too shabby, centered by Wild Bill Karlsson, 17 goals, 29 assists, good for 46 points, on pace to beat 60 like he did last year. And then Jonathan Marchessault, 38 points in 52 games, so he's almost played as many games this year as he has last year, so it's nice that he's been a little bit healthier. On a similar pace, too, so I'm happy with that top line. Maybe a few more goals from Panarin. Maybe a few. On the second line, Riley Smith is having a great season. Tremendous. Already at 41 points. That is a phenomenal season. Again, second line guy, if you can hit 50, I'm happy. He's almost there. So, well done by Riley Smith thus far. Cody Glass, in fairness, isn't looking totally out of place. 30 points in 52 games thus far. Of course, he's playing with some tremendously talented guys, so it's working out for him. And then Dadonov with 18 points in 25 games. One hell of a pace as well. You'll notice more assists than goal scoring, though. Third line, Thomas Tatar has been okay. 21 points in 52 games. I'd like to see a little bit better out of him. Slightly higher pace. Holla, 22 points. And Tuck with 18. So, yeah, that trio right there, slightly underperforming for where I think they could be. Fourth line, though, Carrier, 15 points. Again, if a fourth liner can hit 20, I'm happy. He's on pace. Cody Eakins played a bit on the third line. on 17 points, though. I'm happy. And then Ryan Carpenter's the goddamn man. He's so good. 22 points already. Very happy with that. Of course, we do have Paul Stastny as a healthy scratch right now. 7 points in 16 games. So we do have options. We do. And whether or not we maybe look to make a trade to move out somebody that's underperforming, whether or not we just keep the team the way it is because we have pretty ridiculous depth with Stastny being a healthy scratch, we do have some options. We do. And then defensively, Shea Theodore, 12 points in 42 games. Not bad given that he missed time. It's a +5. 12 points in 42 games. It's okay. He's not going to be on the same point pace he was last year, though. So, slipping up a little bit. But a little bit more of the offense is going to one Roman Josi, who has 25 points in 52 games. Again, not quite on the same point pace as last year. Granted, that was with Nashville. But still, our defensemen aren't exactly putting up the offensive numbers that we know they're capable of. Braden McNabb is on a slightly weaker pace as well. Obviously, he's missed time with injury. Right now, he's on that pairing with Colin Miller, who has 18 points. He's on a similar pace to last year, but we know he's capable of so much more. And Nate Schmidt, 8 points, a -1. Certainly won't be worth the massive amount of money that he's going to look to command as a free agent. And then Jet Wu, 5 points and a -1. Not bad for the 20-year-old. Not bad. Just defensively, we don't have guys that are putting up a ton of points. So if we're looking here at problem areas before the deadline, perhaps a little bit too much high-end depth and some underperforming players here on the third line. They're doing okay, but we know that they're capable of more. The big thing, I'd say, is that Thomas Tatar is a free agent coming up. Hall is still not on a bad deal. Tuck's not on a great deal, but not a bad deal either. So it might be worth contemplating moving Tatar, but one has to remember, too, that Stastny is also an upcoming free agent. And it's not the worst thing in the world to have a ton of depth, stack our chances, and lose guys like Tatar and Stastny for nothing. Same with Nate Schmidt. Our team's better with him than without him, unless we were to give up, picks and prospects to make something happen. Marc-Andre Fleury has done pretty damn well. Can't blame him. Subban's been okay. It's not the goaltending, surprisingly, as to why we're not dominating. It really was just down to the injuries. And even like a Jake Dotchin has done okay in limited appearances. It's just we need our defensemen to step up in terms of point production. And then down in the AHL, Suzuki, 36 points. We know he's a 79, playing with some relatively talented offensive options as well. Stelio, not too bad. Nick Henry doing okay. Those are guys we could see on the fourth line sometime soon. Bembridge, slow and steady for the former first-round pick. He's still just 19. I think we're looking okay. Haig's up to a 76. Bronstrom still at a 74. Those two as well may be pushing for spots in the third pairing sooner rather than later. I love the way the team looks right now. I do. It's just a matter of what do we do, if anything. Season 1, we got Justin Williams, we lost. Season 2, we didn't do anything, we lost. What is the right way to go at this point in time in terms of making moves or not? How do we want this team to look again? 27-18, or not 27-18, 27-17-8. Solid record. One of the better teams in the league. I would imagine we are a top 9 club right now, despite all those injuries too. So I'm feeling good about our chances. If I had to say what I'd do, I think I'd hold firm, hold pat where we are right now. Hold firm, hold pat, stand tall, walking tall with the rock, with a 2x4. Yeah. Anyway, you get the point. I think I'd stay where we are and just try to make the best of it. But I do want to know from you what you guys would do. What do you suggest as far as how we handle heading into the last and the final? I was going to say final and last and came out last. I don't know what the last thing is, but you get the point. What do we do heading into the next episode and hopefully the playoffs? Let me know down in the comments below. We'll stop it here so you guys have an opportunity to give me your feedback before the deadline. So until next time, although, we'll look at the trade block. Let's look at the trade block. We might as well. It's actually what we did last time out. It's what we should do again, just to give you guys an idea of whom is available and how this might work. Son of a bitch, I hit the wrong thing again. Let's go back to propose trade. So the Anaheim Ducks, again, Red is interested in giving away. Josh Manson's still there, Silverberg's still there, both have 2 years left. Probably not going for anybody there. I mean, we have the forward depth, we have some defensive depth, and there's really nobody that would greatly improve that outside of Manson, who would just essentially be a Nate Schmidt replacement for one more year until we'd have to worry about getting rid of Manson. Arizona has Hjalmarsson, Forbort, Demers, Goligoski as their high-end players. Boston shopping Lauko and Mironov. Buffalo, nobody major. Calgary, Grizzlick and Jason Spezza. Derek Ryan as well. Carolina shopping Justin Falk and Jordan Stahl. Now, Falk still has 4 years left, but that is not a bad term. Under 6, or not a bad rate. Under $6 million. I mean, you want to talk about another game changer on defense alongside Roman Josi. Perhaps Justin Falk is that guy. And then Calvin DeHaan, who the hell knows what's going on there. Chicago shopping Jonathan Taves. Certainly not worth that for the current salary. Colorado, nobody major. Ackers, more of a prospect. Nolan Foote as well. Connor Timmins and Nick Mellock. Peterson in Dallas. Robertson, Johns, Pitlick, nobody of extreme caliber in Dallas. Detroit moving Franz Nielsen. Good luck with that contract. Edmonton has Larson, Lucic, and Sekera on the block. It's a whole lot of money. Yandel and Bjugstad being dealt by Florida. Bjugstad on the final year of his deal. The LA Kings shopping Jake Muzzin, Dustin Brown as well. Minnesota trying to move Ryan Suter still. Montreal, indeed, Max Domi did not come up with a contract. So, yeah, he's just sitting at home doing absolutely nothing. Nashville shopping Anisimov. Why did you trade for him in the first place, you psychopaths? Actually, they didn't. That's not the same Anisimov. That would make sense. What the hell? New Jersey, please. Ian Cole, Davidson, nobody major. Islanders moving Scott Mayfield. Tyroning for the Rangers. What is going on with this? Ottawa, thank you. Osterley and Trotman. Phillies moving Ginning and Commodore. Shushko still there. Oland in Pittsburgh. So not many tremendous options. San Jose. And there's Granlund. So if you want to know what Granlund would have gone for, pretty expensive. They're looking to move on. San Jose is looking to rebuild, man. Between Granlund, Kane, Couture, Vlasic, Burns. Some rough contracts there in San Jose. St. Louis moving Bozak, Kevin Miller, Duncan Siemens, Brandon Tanev as well. Nobody major in Tampa. Toronto, of course, they're not looking to move anybody. Vancouver, same thing. Washington, more prospects. And in Winnipeg, prospects. So that is a look at the players that would be easier to acquire. Not saying that's who we have to lock into getting, but you get the point. For now, you know the deal. Support the video. Support the channel. I thank you for it. Check out the description. There's a whole bunch of stuff there. And I will see you guys next time.